Hello, Internet. Welcome to Creative Live. You are joining us for day 3 of guerrilla filmmaking with Ryan Connolly. My name is Susan Roderick, and I'm going to be your host for the day. We are excited to get started, but we have about 10 minutes just making sure everything's running smoothly before we actually jump in. So I thought we'd take this opportunity to talk to an organization, a company that we have been working with and we've been mentioning on air for the last couple days. Lens Pro To Go is an amazing company that provides rental gear for people who just want to try out new experiences. So we have mentioned that we do have discount codes that they are providing for us, and we'll get into those quickly. But I do want to introduce Mike from Lens Pro To Go. We have him on a Skype call, and let's talk to him a little bit about what Lens Pro To Go is. Hi, Mike. How are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going? How are you?
Good. Welcome to Creative Live.
Thanks for having us.
Well, why don't you just tell the people a little bit about Lens Pro To Go and what services you guys provide?
Sure. Well, I mean, we're one of the country's largest online rental companies. So we're all about, as shooters here ourselves, we're all about connecting filmmakers and photographers with the gear that they need to sort of create the art that they need.
All right, great. And why don't we talk a little bit about renting versus buying? A lot of the gear in our industry is expensive, and there's so much to choose from. So why do people want to rent and try stuff out versus buying? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone who knows how expensive all of this gear is, it's us, because we're buying it all. So it's crazy trying to keep up. I mean, there's always new products, especially in the filmmaking world, with the advent of digital SLRs and the fact that sort of those started with sort of the teething problems. The 5D Mark II was revolutionary, but also a huge step backwards if you were used to some of the features that video had in the past. So there's always technological progression. And it makes it hard as a sole proprietor or someone who's just starting out to be able to find a piece of gear and invest in it and then have enough work or be able to pay it off long run and make that be the right tool for every job rather than picking the best tool for each individual job. So that's kind of where we see rentals as coming in, is it sort of, there are definitely items that you should buy and you should own. Certainly something that you're using on every shoot. By all means, that's something that makes sense to own. But if you want to stay flexible and be nimble, or if you just simply want to try out new gear, renting is, kind of what we see as being the best way to do that.
Great. And as far as, the filmmakers that are watching or in the videography world, what is some gear that you think is important to be able to rent and try out and, to step your production up to the next level?
Lenses are probably the most obvious thing. Certainly when you're starting out and you're trying to figure out like, I need a 50 mil or a 35 mil for this specific shot. Sort of using, either starting with the zoom, so you can kind of get a couple different focal lengths at the same time and get a little bit of a flavor. And then when you start to go to more specialized primes like the, Canon L glass, or some of the higher end Nikon primes, all the way up to the cinema primes. So stuff like the Zeiss compact primes, the CP.2s, or the Canon cinema primes, where you're looking at investing multiple thousands of dollars per lens. That's where sort of renting to make sure that it's the right fit for you, or that there's enough of a benefit to the item before purchasing it. That's a great way to do it.
And did you have some gear that you wanted to demo? Did you have something that you wanted to show us?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously sort of the nice thing about working here, we definitely are all pretty lucky because we get the chance to sort of play with gear in a way that even like a regular camera store wouldn't, because for us, there's no products that need to stay in a box and be brand new. Everything we get here, we open. So because we're all filmmakers and shooters here, we're taking gear out on the weekend. So some of the things that have been, really impressive for us, the new, the Sony, the A7S has been absolutely unreal. I know sort of the internet is basically on fire with this camera. The low light sensitivity is just unbelievable. Not to mention the dynamic range, the potential for the 4K output. Once Atomos releases its new products and some of the other third-party recorders come online, I mean, this camera is going to be absolutely unreal, and it's amazing, what you can get out of a camera that is, just this size. It's absolutely unbelievable. So this is one that I know people have been sort of clamoring over. We can't get enough of them. This is one we just got this morning, and it's already going out on a rental. So lots of people have been looking to take advantage of that. Of course, the other thing that people are always interested in checking out is the FreeFly Movi. We've got the M10 and the M5, and I mean, if you want to talk about something that's revolutionized, the camera movement market, by far the FreeFly stuff has been unbelievable. Just the amount of precision that you can get, the moves you can do, and the relative ease. We've done a lot of stuff with glide cams and steady cams and those kinds of units, and they're great. You can achieve great results on a much smaller budget, but it comes at the expense of your time in practicing and honing the craft. The Movi definitely is sort of like the cheat. It's like getting in a helicopter to the top of Everest rather than summiting yourself. What it does for you is pretty amazing. So we've been psyched to carry those. We've got a huge fleet that's coming and going all the time. So
cool. Well, I actually personally used a Movi 5 last week, and it was unbelievable. I don't know if I will ever be the same again. Seriously. It
opens up it opens up the possibility for so many shoots, which is what we think is amazing. And then the entire ecosystem around it is awesome. Certainly over some of the other three gyro stabilized gimbals FreeFly has just sort of done an amazing job. So we're really psyched to carry those.
Yeah, they're actually local to Washington. The company
they are.
is. And the cool thing about a piece of gear like that is it is a $5,000 piece of gear, or the Movi 5 I think is. And for a lot of people, that's not attainable. I know that's actually very reasonable in the filmmaking industry as far as a piece of gear like that. And they can be 15 grand, or they can be much more expensive than that. But it does give everyone the ability to access the kind of shots that they would not otherwise be able to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you look at the level of complication that, if you're going to do Steadicam and you've never done it before, you're far better hiring a Steadicam op. So by the time you're done doing that, you're probably spending, close to $1,000 just to have, a Steadicam op to come out for your shoot. So, this sort of opens up the doors to access for folks, which is nice. And yeah, I mean, it makes it so easy. There's certainly a fair amount of technical stuff that you need to know to it's not totally turnkey, but the learning curve is much shorter. So
very
that's
cool.
What's exciting.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Mike, for joining us, and thank you again for partnering with us on this workshop. So it's been a pleasure talking to you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.